Well, it happened. The Pumas beat the Springboks by 1 point in an absolute cracker of a match last night in the wee hours of this morning. Welcome back to the Rugby Oaks. My name's Matt. This is George. And today we're going to talk about how the Springboks lost to Los Pumas. George, couple of minutes just about the Pumas themselves. Hell of a season.
I mean, yeah, like they've beaten every team in the championship for the first time, I think, ever. So fair play to them. Well played to them. They capitalised during our mistakes. Coach has turned things around. They're looking like they're finally on their way back to where they, I suppose, used to be. Because they did have a bit of a slump. They made the semi, of the World Cup. But since then, there's not much has happened. But fair play to them. They played hell of a well. Don't take anything away from them.
Started off the season, new coach, losing to a development squad from France. Then going on to New Zealand, beating them by 8 points. Then playing Australia, unlucky to kind of lose that one game, then bounce back and beat them by a record score. I think they beat them by 40 points, 9 tries or 8 tries scored in the second half. And then, of course, hosting the Boks, Santiago de la somewhere or other. Beautiful stadium, intense stadium. And they did the job. They got the business done. 1 point is all you need to knock the world champs, number one of the world, off the pedestal. No longer number one in the world. But let's talk through the game. We'll go on to some match stats later. And, of course, we'll talk through the player ratings and how we regroup for next week in Nelspruit. Guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please make our day. The Boks lost. Make our day. Hit that subscribe button. We need to get those numbers up. It's hard grafting after a Springbok loss. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, we are still here to chat you through the game. Well, it couldn't have started any better for the Boks. That first 12 minutes, we scored 3 tries. Fussy. Weekend special, 3 minutes in. There was gap for days. You could have got his own Boeing private jet through that gap. We then did exactly the same play. Kicked the ball, downfield. Got the ball back. Gap for days. Creel could have got a fucking bus through that gap. Absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, Pollard, so it was 2 tries in the first. Pollard goes for the poles. I actually was shouting at the time. I was like, go for the corner. We keep scoring tries. Go for the corner. But, he went for poles there at the 8th minute. At the 12th minute. And then, while it was all going so well, and I was sitting there going, well, this is going to be a pretty easy win if we're scoring tries at this ease. The Argentines started crawling their way back into the game, and it was fantastic. Carreras with a try at the 14th minute. And then the very interesting Arence yellow card. Tough on the guy. Clear images of him bending to get low. In fact, his knees were not far from the ground. The other guy was stepping, and it was a proper tackle. It was a wrap tackle. Unfortunately, the tip of the shoulder did get a couple of hairs on the chin of the Argentine winger, who's actually a flippin' hell of a player. But apparently that's worthy checking whether it's a red card or not, which is outrageous. At the very worst, in my opinion, a penalty. Very worst, a penalty. It hit the face. Okay, fine. But there was clear attempt not to do it, and the guy was dipping and dodging. So at some point in rugby, this is going to happen. However, it was a yellow card, and in that time, George, of the yellow card, they scored 2 tries. Matera down the wing, tearing it up down the wing, and Shklavi, who I said to watch out for, hell of a prop. Yep. It was quite a fortuitous try, actually. The pod from the line out was getting pushed out, popped the ball out, prop out of nowhere caught the ball, but he had 2 defenders to beat, and geez, with that kind of Argentinian beef, with a couple of meters out, you're going to be hard pressed to stop that. Fair play to them, but then they kept on going. Albornoz, the number 10, who had on and off game. He missed a couple of kicks. I think he was 3 kicks.
Yeah.
He scored a try at 34 minutes. So all of a sudden, 24-17, 24 unanswered points in 22 minutes. That's, yellow card or not, George, that is not good enough for a Springbok team.
No.
Who look at the half, managed to claw it back, Reinach with a sniping run to make it 26-22, and we could all rest kind of semi-easy going into half-time. But, George, that is not a Rassie Erasmus coach team performance.
No, and I think we chatted at about half-time, and I said, I think we might be are we missing something here, defensive coaching-wise? Is Jacques Nienaber? I'm nothing against Jerry Flannery. But we don't leak 4 tries very often. Not very often at all. And 4 tries in a game like that, something ain't right. But anyway, look, we got a card. We can't only blame the card for that. But something just wasn't 100%. But we again can't take anything away from Argentina. They played.
Argentina ran us ragged. They ran us so ragged that in the second half, where we actually won the second half, we were going to start talking about losing teams, loser teams. We won it 6-3. Very kind of gritty second half, but we were dominating an Argentina that had been run so ragged and had picked up injuries along the way. That a hooker playing flank at one point, but we could not capitalize. With the team we sent over there was not good enough to capitalize on that. The Argentine passion. The crowd, outrageous. We said to each other, we have to go to that stadium. We've got to go to Argentina to watch again, but we have to go to that stadium. Hit subscribe. Let's monetize the channel and send us to Argentina. Come on, guys. What's wrong with you? Make some broke bockers happy, okay? Hit that subscribe button, pass it on to a friend. Let's get the Rugby Oaks going. Potentially business class, who knows? But
I'll go in a suitcase, anchor.
I will go in chuck me a message in a bottle and chuck me in the water. I'll be there for that game with that kind of energy. And the crowd lifted them and pushed them forward. And, geez, look, we can talk about a couple of mistakes, glaringly obvious ones, which will look, Mani Lebok missing out to a corner, unlucky. Was going a bit too far. Mani Lebok missing at the end. You don't lose a game missing a final penalty because it's 80 minutes. So let's just take that off Mani's chest. Okay, he didn't lose us that game. 79 or 68 or whatever minutes of poor play lost us that game. But these. If one of those errors happened, fine. 2. It's a tough one because in open play he played really well, and we'll talk about his player rating a little bit later. But Argentina get a miraculous penalty after tackling Fussy off the ball after a kick, which should have been our penalty, and they scored 29, or they took it up to 29 points at 68 minutes, and we had 12 minutes to fight back, and we tried desperately hard. We got within a meter of their line, coughed up the ball. We had every opportunity to win that game, but full credit to Argentina. Look, they have had a season to remember, but now they're going to come to Nelspruit, George. And I didn't even go to Nelspruit. Now they're going to come to Nelspruit, and there's a lot in the news today about the Rugby Championship going to the last weekend. Let's be very clear. It's not going to the last weekend. The Rugby Championship got decided last night because we got that losing bonus point. We are now on 19 points. They are on 14 points. They need a bonus point victory to draw the Rugby Championship with us, to take it to points difference. They then need to make up 37 points to win the Rugby Championship, or 38 to actually take it. It's not happening. The Rugby Championship is staying in South Africa. And is that a calculated risk by Rassie saying, look, let's send these youngsters, let's test them. I don't care about number 1 in the world. I don't care about winning. I care about getting these players ready and learning something about these players. And I dare say, George, you learned a couple of things about some of those players. Not in the best way.
No, unfortunately not. That is what he does, and it's the whole method to his madness. You can see his book behind me. I just read it, most of it flying in a plane. I wasn't flying the plane. I was a passenger. But this is your captain speaking. I'm flying, and Rassie tells you to sit down. No. And he talks about it, like how he wants to put players in pressure situations, and he wants to see how they handle it. If you can't handle it, unfortunately, you might not carry on throughout the career, or he will find areas of your game where we can work on to get you to that
level.
So if you're at 80% now and you need to be at 100, what's that 20%? What do I need to do? Yeah. And then, so look, I don't think the guys who are there are all written off. I just think that there's a bit of an eye opener, and you just think, okay, look, we got to do a bit better here, and here.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
There's no one that's kind of completely written off. There's people that have more questions than answers after that game, in my opinion. But let's look at some kind of match stats here. And revolve around the set piece, something that the Springboks literally pride themselves on. We create a game plan about set piece, bomb squad, etc., scrummaging.
Yeah.
Set plays, we had 10 scrums. George, we only had apparently 70% win rate of that, which is wildly low. Wildly low. Line outs, 11, we had 82% win rate of that. Wildly low. That is not good enough. Okay? But last 10 minutes, we had 92% of the possession and couldn't score 3 points.
No.
Couldn't score anything. There's fundamental issues with the way that game was coached. Okay? Or that coaching plan was given to the players. Now, in Rusty we trust. I ain't ever going to say Rusty doesn't know what he's talking about. But there was something that went wrong from the plan to the execution. And that was all this talk for we have 2 international quality teams. Well, we don't. We just lost the 7th in the world. Okay? Yeah. That's clear proof of that. Back row, for example, just weren't dominant. Locks were solid but not dominant. The backs, I mean, Curly Arendse had a rare off day, unfortunately for him, but there were just too many pieces not clicking. And when you add set pieces like that, look, you ain't winning a game against anyone.
No. That was against, like, if we played like that against someone like England or, Ireland. Whew.
Yeah, if we had those stats against New Zealand, we've lost by 20 points.
We've lost. Yeah.
And New Zealand are on the fucking slope down. Let's be honest, on the decline. But we can chat about that in the comments. Well, let's go through a couple of player ratings. Well, we'll go through all the player ratings here. George will discuss them. We'll see what our feelings were. First of all, number 1, Oxen Chair. I thought he had a barnstorming game. He just gets better and better. And in a game where we were just going head first at sometimes without much plan of going wide. Yeah, he was the ox. He was smashing through the line. Those bullocking runs reminded me of him when he was in the Cheetahs. Remember those days?
Oh yeah, those are the good old days. I mean, now they're the new old days. When he's playing for the Sharks, he sometimes gets away with it. But he was, I think, the best player on the day.
Yeah, I agree. Scrummed well, ran well, ball skills were great. I'm going to give him an 8.5. What do you think about that?
I think it's fair. We can't give many players very high scores.
No.
But I think an 8.5 is fair.
On to number 2, Malcolm Marx, at one stage lauded as the best hooker in the world. I think he's clearly now, and I love Malcolm Marx, clearly now second choice to Bongi and Bonambi, which is a worry, because he should be getting better at this age. I thought he was ineffective during the match. He didn't make a single steal, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I saw. I also thought he played too long. He played 69 minutes, and that was because we had a rookie essentially on the bench, and it was a tough game, but that's why play 79 minutes. That's not our game plan. His line-out throws weren't great. We saw earlier the stats for his line-outs weren't great. But it wasn't always like losing the line-out. It was just shaky throws, overthrows.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good set piece at the line-outs. We talked about that.
Yeah, but I'm coming into his defense a little bit here, but I agree with everything you just said. We also struggled. There was the line-out that we lost, which is I just got home to see it. It looked like the jumpers didn't have a clue what was going on. So there was a breakdown there. Is our locks, because we're down to like our 5th and 6th choice locks? Is there an issue there who's calling the lineouts?
Yeah, I mean when you've got
because it looked like that.
when you've got a Lood de Jager, Franco Mostard, RG Sneeman, Jean Klein, Evans on the bench, and Peter Steph-Toy arguably number 6, you've got 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
You know, what team in the world can field a decent 7th and 8th lock pairing? But we'll move on to that. George, do you have an idea of what you want to give Malcolm? I've got one, but I think it might be a bit harsh.
Oof. 6. That's probably is that generous?
I was going to give him a 5, if I'm honest, and I think it's the first time in his career ever to get a 5. But let's go with a 6. I thought he pitched up. He did his job. I don't think he did anything apart from that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But let's give him a 6. Let's be generous. Thomas Tutoy I thought was solid. He was solid around the park, solid in the scrums. I'll give him a 6.5. You know, didn't do anything super special. With that, you happy with that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's a worker. He doesn't get enough game time in his Boks jersey. I want to see him play a bit more, and then he'll probably grow in his confidence as well. But yeah,
100%. Salman Murat captained the team. A little bit frustrating to see. He just hasn't asserted that dominance that we saw at kind of school level. That he just hasn't brought that into international level or for one, even Stormers level. To be honest, he was solid but not exciting. 5.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think we chatted about it. We need him to, if he's going to be the captain, he needs to talk to the ref and not get in his ear.
Montoya was so polite, so nice, but constantly discussing the game with the ref, and we need to get better, smarter at that. Ron Akir, 6.5. I thought he was solid.
Yeah, 6.5 is fair. He was solid. He went off for a blood injury.
Yeah, we don't play those games.
No, but he has an engine. That guy, he is so 2.0, which is great.
In the forwards, he's the one guy this season who I've been like, happy that we found him. Really happy that we found him,
and I'm happy for him as well because he just I don't think he'd make, like you said once not long ago, maybe 1 or 2 Boks caps if that. Look at it, he's doing very well.
He looks like he could be the real deal now. Let's go through. We've got a lot of guys to go through, so let's speed this up slightly. Van Staden, Visser, and Dixon in the back row. I thought they all had particularly poor games. I don't think they did a huge amount wrong, but they didn't affect the game to the level that we require. I'm giving them 5s across the boards.
Yeah, that's fair as well. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to delve into 5s. Easy.
Yeah, nothing special about what they did, unfortunately, and I back all of them to bounce back. This is not personal. This is Cobus Reinach. I enjoyed his game. I thought he was snipey. I thought he controlled the game well while he was on the field. I actually think he did really well. He scored a try as well. I'll give him 8. I'll give him 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think he went off too early because there was a bit of a difference when nothing against Hendrikse.
He had a solid game. Hendrikse did, but I mean we said the opposite about Marks. Like if the game plan is to move him early, why bring someone else on? So we can't really argue too much because it'd be hypocritical. But he bossed the game. He looked comfortable. He was looking for those sniping runs constantly around the base, and he was keeping Argentina working. Pollard did what he needed to do. I thought he ran the back line well. Happy to give him a 6.5, 6.5.
Yeah, I missed most of the first half, but I think did he miss any kicks? I don't know.
He missed one kick. Let's give him a 6.5. I thought he was. I was happy with his performance. I would have liked to seen him be on the field for the 80 minutes. Things might have changed. They might not have, but we'll see. And Creel in the centres. Look, they both played nicely. They made their tackles. Creel scored a try. Settled at 12 reasonably well.
Yeah.
I thought he popped a couple of balls out. He played quite well. 6.5 for them as well. Arensa, yellow card. While I don't think it's his fault, it didn't help us in the situation. And maybe I'm just hurt. 5. I don't think he did anything in that game apart from bounce someone, which was awesome. When you see Arensa bounce someone, he just wasn't effective in the game. And perhaps maybe that should knock a 0.5 out of Krill and for not getting him in the game more. So maybe we'll drop them down to 6s. But Makazole Mapimpi on the road to retirement, no more. He had a barnstorming game. He was playing for his new bebe, and he was smashing. I absolutely loved his game.
It's one of his best games.
I think give him an 8.
Yeah, absolutely. And people can say you mad or whatever.
He
It's one of
played
his
well.
best games. In a Bok jersey, he did. It wasn't just about speed. It's everything he did. It was his overall game.
And I love to see it. I love to see it. You know, we've got wings for days, we've got young players for days, but this guy is not letting go of that 11 jersey anytime soon. Obviously, we've got Chesney Colby, who will always start, but if there is a little bit of space for Mapimpi, I'm more than happy for him to be on the field at any time if he's going to play like that. And then Fassi, look, I thought he played really nicely. I thought he did well off the high ball. I thought he kicked quite nicely, he scored his try. Happy to give him a 7.5.
Yeah, he saved us from, we lost in the end, but that ankle tap at the end was...
Well, let's give him an 8. Let's give him an 8 for that ankle tap.
And people will chirp and say, oh, his defense is not the best.
Let him chirp.
Chirp all he won.
Let him chirp.
A few guys have got 8s here, but the rest have got 5s.
It wasn't, and that was it. There was moments of like really good play, and then there was other guys who were just bang average in that match. Jan-Hendrik Wessels off the bench. We're going to really quickly here because we're running out of time. Wessels, I thought he was quite barnstorming when he came on. I'll give him a 6.5. He did a couple of big runs. Gerard Sennekamp, Vincent Koch got those scrum penalties. Let's give him 7s because they came on. They did what they were supposed to do.
They did what they were supposed to. The only thing is Stennekamp gave the penalty away to...
maybe we'll drop him.
Technically. We'll drop him to 6.
Slightly, 6.5. Earban came on and tried his little heart out, drawing the record. 7 for him. Ulrich Loh and Kwacha 6.5s each. I don't think they did anything crazy, but they were solid. Jaden Hendricks, played quite nicely. Didn't do a huge amount wrong, but we'll 6.5, nothing special, 6 maybe. No. And Mani Lebok, tough one.
Before we talk about it, yes, those 2 errors he made, but his general field play was
great.
Top.
It was sublime.
My gosh. It's threading needles. Maybe one occasion he maybe held onto the ball a little bit too long, but he made the Argentinian backline always like second guess, like shit, is he going to pass? So that's what he need. If he's going to be in the team, he needs to be in the team to do that, and then have 100 Pollard in the team as well.
I completely agree. Take the pressure off him with kicking and find someone else who can do the job. It's not outrageous. We did it in 2007 to win a World Cup. The French have done it all their lives, having number 9s kick. If your 10 doesn't kick, but he's the best number 10, you select him, and that's going to be with Sasha. And with Andre, hopefully there'll be some games with Mani at 10, one of them at 12, and we'll go from there. Or even Sasha at 15. Who cares? Sasha can play any way he wants to play. Anyway, tough reading for some of those guys. Let's George, how many Brunners were you going to give to the ref out of 10?
Out of 10 Brunners.
10 Brunners. How many Brunners did you give him after the game? No, out of 5. Sorry. We used to do 5. Out of 5.
Yeah, we did 5. Out of 5 Brunners, I'm giving him 2.5.
You're giving him 2.5?
Yeah. I didn't know that you could put a ball under a lock's feet to scrum. Anyway, no, I'm not blaming the ref for the loss.
We didn't lose because of the ref, but he was a rookie ref, and I thought on both sides he made some funky decisions.
Oh yeah,
and I thought the TMO, the ref team, not just the referee on thing. I think it was probably worth a 2 Brunners out of 5, but we'll go at 2.5 Brunners out of 5. Who wants a half Brunners anyway? George, we're bouncing back next week. There's no doubt about it. We're going to lift the trophy. Maybe Rusty's plan was to have us lift it on home soil, but there's no way those RGs are coming to the deepest, darkest Nelspruit.
No.
Going to score 38 points on us over what we score. And score 4. Well, obviously they'd have to score 4 tries in the process, or 3 tries in the process. Yeah. We're taking the trophy home. We've lost number 1 in the world. Thank you to the Irish for reminding us this morning. What a lovely wake up they had of first in the world by default. But it's all to play for the Rugby Championship as a competition, George. New Zealand on the down, but still a great team. Australia, after that performance, you've got to say on the up. Hell of a performance. And Argentina,
on the up.
On that performance, on this competition, I mean, there's plenty of Bok teams in the last 10 years or last 20 years. They might have lost to that. RG team. Not every single one of them, but there's plenty that would have in our history of the Rugby Championship. So let's hope we can win it next week convincingly. Monkey off our back. Have a little bit of a celebration. Rassie back on the winning horse, and the Boks ready for their autumn tour. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed and you're still with us 25 minutes later, hit the button. There's thousands watching, only a few hundred subscribing every week. So let's get that rolling. Catch George at TryTime George on Instagram, me at SA Rugby Oak on Instagram, and us at the Rugby Oaks on YouTube every week during season. Let's go. We'll see you next time.